to.
Did you have a good vacation?
Yes. Oh, you mean when I was gone?
Yeah.
It was work.
Oh,
It
well,
wasn't.
was it good?
Yeah, it was great. I went to Burlington. That's where my
Burlington,
office is.
Vermont.
Vermont?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful area.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Portland.
George, I
a
can see
little
you.
smaller.
Can anybody,
Similar.
can you hear me?
No.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I just heard Julia. We're good. That was a delay.
Yeah, no kidding.
There is quite a delay.
It's kind of like, hello, hello.
It's weird sitting on this side of the table. It's weird sitting on this side of
I
the
think
table.
Alan
Why?
sat there just to drive you
You
crazy.
did on purpose, didn't you?
I just wanted to break your habit.
Throw another loop.
But if you become chairperson, you permanently get the center seat.
I can sit wherever I want.
You can sit wherever you would like. As long as it's in this room somewhere
There you go.
and has a microphone in front of it. I guess I should look at the agenda, see what we're doing tonight. Okay, I think we are close enough, so we have a quorum, we have 3 members, which is the minimum for a quorum. So if you will join me in saying the pledge of allegiance.
Nope.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Reminds me of high school. I had to do that a few times. The intercom.
Okay, next is amendments to the agenda. Anyone having a,
I don't have any.
okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to acceptance of meeting minutes for March 5th and March 19th, 2025. Anybody have any comments, additions, deletions off the minutes?
I don't, I'll
See it.
move to accept them as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise a hand if you agree. 3-0. Which is as good a time as any to say that on anything we vote on tonight, it requires all 3 votes. Our bylaws say that it has to be a majority of the membership, which is 5, hence 3 yes votes or no votes. Okay, informational exchange on non-agenda items. Mr. Thabars, the town planner.
I just wanted to update you that we have received the codification editorial and legal analysis. They've gone through the ordinance. They had already reformatted it and put it into their template for their program, and now they've given us that analysis. They have 139 question response where they're asking the town for corrections, direction, and so we have to have that response to them by July 25th. So I will be doing a report to the select board at the request of the town manager and board, basically giving them an analysis of their report and kind of laying out. There are going to be kind of 3 different categories of issues. The first are going to be what I'm calling legal and administrative, typos, wording, those sorts of things. So that'll be the first batch. Then the second group will be minor policy issues. So for example, it's unclear under our ordinance who inspects driveways. We have driveway standards, but there's no clear responsibility, and it's kind of falling through the cracks. So that would be what I would classify as a minor policy issue. And then there are, I think there were 13 of those, and then there were 7 or 8 major policy issues, such as the policy for backlots or home-based businesses. So the select board will review that, and as we've done in past years, kind of they do their after the town meeting, analysis of what priorities are gonna be and what they're gonna work on, and hopefully we'll get some direction on how they wanna proceed with that in preparation for next year's town meeting.
Can I ask a question? So it's not us asking the select board what their response will be, it's us or telling the select board what the issues are and asking them how to proceed to answer the issue.
Yeah, what we'll be doing is basically putting the project before them.
Yeah,
And getting their direction on how they want to approach it.
okay.
And I would offer that if you have issues that you think, policies that need to be addressed in this, please forward them to me. For instance, I know, Alan, you're concerned about the issue of solid waste containers. So if there are other issues that have been recurring in the past, feel free to get those to me. I'm preparing another list. Staff has identified some issues. I know the fire chief is concerned about the current policy on fire protection, water supplies in terms of allowance for and requirement for cisterns, underground cisterns, which are a real problem for his department. So we'll be laying out those potential policy issues, but what'll end up probably happening is the town will go forward with an initial overhaul of the land use ordinance, and then we'll have kind of a list of policy issues and hopefully be able to determine a sequence for addressing them based on priorities. And how big is this issue? How much does it come up? How many properties does it affect? And then they'll kind of give us some direction for how they want to approach the project.
And when are you presenting that to
It's the second meeting in May of the
Okay.
select board.
Okay. And then I'm assuming that if anything doesn't pass at the town meeting that we've been working on, that will probably
They
become,
have to have the discussion that same day with how they want to go forward on that. so.
might be a priority for
Right.
next year,
Right.
possibly.
Although I guess we roll it up in the codification process,
Well, some will be able potentially.
assuming it doesn't pass.
You're talking about land use articles?
Yeah, land use
One of
articles,
them.
Yeah, yeah.
We
I'm
just-
sure those will be part of it.
the discussion.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
And I'm assuming they don't want to share until they're ready to share, they being the select board,
The list?
the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still processing it.
Okay, but you're gonna send it to them and not copy us, or?
Initially, they would like to see it.
I will
John
Keep
has a-
them,
No, we
keep them,
we could certainly request to share it. We can request that, so.
we may very well, once it's done. I get where they want to take the lead in everything these days.
Well, it's more just setting the policy direction. And, as they've done in the past, they've delegated the best standards to the planning board, solar to the conservation commission. So I anticipate they will probably follow that track as well.
Yeah, well, these folks don't want to hear my thoughts on that.
Well, no,
But you might.
I mean, the difference is that we always went to them with the issues,
Yeah.
right? We were the ones who, or you mentioned the battery coming in and the solar and the resource protection, we went to them and then they told us what the priorities were. Difference here is you're going to them with the list.
And again, this is
Without us.
just the results of the
Yeah,
consultation.
no, I know, I agree that maybe could we request to see that list when,
Sure, I'm sure you will.
when it's ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so that's in codification for those folks who haven't heard that term before. Last year, the town meeting approved money to have a consulting firm review our ordinance, our land use ordinance, to look for issues that may not follow state law, that weren't clear, so on and so forth. And what Mr. DeBarge is referring to is we've got that consultant's comments. So that's, when you hear the codification, that's what it means. It will end up with a product that is much more user-friendly. So you can go in and search for backlots, you go in and search for whatever it may be, and if it works, the computer will pull it up for you. Okay, George, anything else?
Nope.
Just I'll remind everybody at the beginning and at the end of the meeting that town elections are Friday, starting at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Eureka Center, and the town meeting, which I encourage everybody to come to, starts at 9 a.m. at Durham Community Schools. So I'll probably throw that out there again. Any residents have any anything that is not on the agenda this evening? Any non-residents? Seeing none, we'll move on to continuing business. We have none. And new business, review of a private road. The first thing is review of a private road maintenance agreement for Blue Jay Way, map 2, lot 35. Public comment will not be taken. So what we generally do is we'll have Mr. Thabars give an introduction to it. The landowner applicant will get up and add anything he wants to it, and then well, I at least have one question, but then we'll discuss it amongst the board, ask more questions, and then take a vote if we feel like we've got everything we need. So, Mr. Thabars, if you would start with an introduction.
Yes, and this is an example of what codification, a policy that's going to hopefully be looked at is currently the process for getting approval of backlot access and private ways, which they're called in most towns, is that the road commissioner and the code officer approve the plan for the road and the right-of-way, and then the maintenance agreement is all that the planning board reviews. And so under this review, what you'll be looking at is just the maintenance agreement. The code officer and, as I understand it, the road commissioner have already approved the road plan. And so now the applicant, before he can sell any lots or get any building permits, has to have the maintenance agreement approved by the board. So that is basically the plan is right behind you, if you can see up on the board. And so basically there is an existing right-of-way. Let me point that out. So Blue Jay Way is, so there's an existing access right there, goes into, there are two houses on this lot, and he would like to split this, sell these lots separately, and this access is substandard in terms of meeting the backlot access requirements for multiple lots. So he's proposing to relocate it over here, bring the driveway for this lot, maintain that access, and then create a new access driveway for the back lot. And the two lots will actually be this configuration and this configuration, and part of this land is coming from this lot, which he also owns. So there'll actually be the creation of there are two existing lots, and it'll split and create one new lot, which does not trigger subdivision. So the only permit or permission he needs from you is the approval of the maintenance agreement for this common access.
So he owns all of that. He's only proposing 2 lots. I know we're just looking at the maintenance agreement, but it's 3 that would trigger subdivision, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, and he has to wait.
There are 2 existing lots, so
Yeah,
he's creating one new one, which is not a subdivision.
right. Okay.
Buffer, if you want to slide up and you can help answer
George,
the
it
question.
was interesting at the beginning of the meeting where you had mentioned that, I know that the road commissioner approves a plan, but there's no one inspecting that road.
Well, the code officer and road commissioner are theoretically inspecting it.
Right, okay.
And I think they, at least on most of them they do, because subdivision up the road here, way that remain anonymous at this point, I know they inspected that and found some issues that had to be
That's a
fixed.
subdivision, there's a whole different
That's
program
a
for
total,
that.
right.
Okay, different, right, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Puffer, if you would, whenever you come up, folks, speak loudly into one of the microphones. We don't have a great system. State your name and address, please.
I'm Bob Puffer. I live at 960 Pinkham Brook Road here in Durham.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Thabars said? And then we'll ask you questions after.
I don't think so, only that, everything was done to make the lots conforming, so they are 100% conforming.
Okay. Well, I have a question that came up in my review, which is the new private right-of-way. Looking at the survey that you had done by Wayne Wood and Company, it looks like the first part of that is on property you don't own. Looks like it kind of splits the Cherry property and the Balfour property. So, do you have permission, my first question, do you have permission from those two
I do.
property owners to,
I do. So it's not on the Balfour property at all. The
Okay.
right-of-way is on the Cherry property. And I know Jim well, and we've spoken about this, and Jim has no issues whatsoever, which makes it nice. It makes it easy. Both right-of-way accesses are called out in the deed, both here and here.
the old and the new right-of-ways?
Yes,
So,
yes,
this one and that one are both
called out in the
in
deeds.
which deed? In whose deed?
My deed,
Your deed for up here.
yes. And when Mr. Cherry purchased that lot, 12 years ago maybe, he knew that there were right-of-ways on both sides. He wasn't surprised necessarily that it's finally being utilized, but
Okay.
most importantly, he's
Uh,
okay with it.
I always ask questions like these because down the road, God forbid, Mr. Cherry's not there anymore, what is the next buyer of that property? And you said, was it on his deed, is it on his deed when he purchased that? So if I went and looked at Mr. Cherry's deed, is that easement for the new one?
I actually could not tell you if it's on his deed, but it's on my deed. Both 50-foot right-of-ways.
Okay, I want to be clear, when you say your deed, you're talking about only this land up here? Or are you talking about you own this land at one point?
No, I'm talking about Lot 35, which would be the lot behind Cherry's lot, correct?
Okay, I have a concern that's, while he may be A-OK on a phone call or whatever, that down the road, I have concerns about laying down an easement on top of his property in the right of way, because that's what you're gonna have to do, is create an easement for this section of the road right there.
The easement exists.
It already exists.
It already
Well, that's,
exists.
okay, I misunderstood.
No,
So
it
that-
already exists. You're saying there's two easements that already
Correct.
exist.
on Cherry's property.
Okay, and he knows that, okay, I got you. That
On
answers
your, it
my,
shows on your deed, the question is, you haven't seen his deed.
I
But
haven't, but
It's on your deed.
it is.
it was on your deed before you sold it, those parcels.
They haven't been sold
He's,
yet, but
that's not his, this is his property.
No, I got you.
This is Cherry's property. They're on there. They're already on there.
they're existing.
Okay, I get you, and I hear what everybody's saying, but how do I know it exists? I mean, if it's not on a deed somewhere,
It is on
It's
a
on his
deed.
deed.
it's on your deed up here.
Includes the right of easement out to Pinkenbrook Road, and the surveyor, he's got his surveyor stamp on this, is verifying that easement exists.
Okay, then that answers the question, you have the right to do it then. That answers my question. That was the only question I think that I had at this point.
Actually, that's a really good point. I think maybe if we looked at this further, the plan references, it might mention the easement specifically in here, right? Like the verbiage. Yeah. 2 50-foot wide rights of way across land of James Cherry to land of Puffer, C Book 4307, page 274. So it mentions references.
Should be.
what
Works for
that
me.
is. So,
Does anybody else have any questions?
I don't.
is there a house? Does Cherry have a house or anything here?
He does,
Okay,
he does.
okay. All right. No,
Seeing no discussion, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the maintenance agreement for this property. Any further discussion? Seeing none, if you agree, if you vote yes, please raise a hand. 3-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Don't forget the town meeting. Okay, I think the next thing on our agenda is request for a conditional use approval for outdoor seasonal seating at 1252 Royalsboro Road, map 7, lot 113C. Ms. Goodrich,
Yes.
please come up. State your name and address.
Business address or my home address?
Home, please.
Gary Goodrich, 764 Elmwood Road in Pownell.
Okay, thank you. Before we start, I just want to make everybody aware and find out the feelings on this. The land immediately north of your property is owned by my wife's cousin, so a family member, Sylvester property. So I have no financial interest in it. He is a cousin and a friend, but I want to make sure that both board members are okay with my continuing on this and that the applicant is okay with my
I'm fine.
continuing this.
I'm
I'm
fine
okay
with
with
it.
it.
Okay, having said that,
I actually live just a little bit away from there too, but not adjoining, so.
well, unfortunately, I can't get out of this. Okay, which is good for you because we'd had to postpone until next month. Okay, Mr. Tamarz, if you would be so kind as to give a quick summary of the request.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the applicant is before you tonight seeking an amendment to a conditional use approval that was granted in 2020. And at that point, the planning board granted the conditional use approval for application to operate a farm market, including food takeout. During that process, they reviewed the potential impacts under the conditional use criteria and included a finding that there would be no seating associated with the farm stand food takeout. And so in order to add seating, the applicant needs to come back to the board to have a conditional use review of that proposed expansion. And under Article 7 of the land use ordinance, it specifically indicates that whenever an applicant is coming to the board for an amended application, the only part of the conditional use project that can be discussed by the board and affected by the board is the proposed change in use. So you can't go back and put additional requirements on the existing conditional use, only the proposed expansion of it. So I think that's important to clarify. And so I will pretty much turn it over to Mr. Goodrich to explain his plan. And under the ordinance, the board applies the typical conditional use criteria for public safety, public health, traffic, and all of those considerations. And the applicant has prepared a conditional use application that addresses all of those criteria. I've incorporated all of the information from that conditional use application into the draft findings and conclusions. And so the board can go through that list either after hearing the presentation and dealing with it as a whole, or you can take it piece by piece as you go. So that's the application before you tonight.
Yeah, thank you for preparing that. That's well done.
Do you want to give a quick introduction, comments?
Yeah, sure. In 2020, of course, that was the start of COVID. So that might have had something to do with the conditional use of not having a picnic table outside to eat your sandwich. But the first couple of years, people, I did have a picnic table out there. It was for my employees because I'm GAP certified, so that's a requirement that you have a place for your employees to eat their meals. But then people would use the table. So, and I have a history on that on the spreadsheet that I have. I do have data over the last few years where I had as many as 6 to 8 people at peak times during the summer, harvesting and doing farm work. And so I added a picnic table. And but what I did have is, I think the point is, to keep it short and sweet, is that my estimate and the original approval was based on about 50 to 100 car stops a day. And as it's turned out, based on the point of sale device I had, a Square, and then I changed it over to a Clover system. So I have good records on every single sale. It turns out that it hasn't changed all that much in several years. You know, you can see the averages here, the 24, 25, 26. So the bottom line is.
Do you mind pulling that close, a little bit closer to
Oh, the bottom line is.
It'll come closer.
Sure, I'm sorry. The bottom line is that the adding seating, outdoor seating, which is seasonal, of course, has not affected the resources that we originally had planned for when I got the first approval.
Okay.
So that's the short story.
Okay, any questions from planning board members, comments?
Yeah, where are so is it a back deck?
Well, I haven't built it. That's a proposed one. And
Okay.
it may not even be a deck, it may be just it may be just another stone surface. But I just want to, I didn't want to leave anything out going forward, so that if I do this, I don't have to come back and ask for additional seating if I need it.
Okay, it'll be something behind the market,
Correct.
right? So I'm trying to look at the plan.
Behind or to the side?
No, right, directly behind it.
Behind it, so
And the reason
Royalsburg,
for that was because it actually is quite noisy. It's not the farm that's noisy, it's the road. And
yeah.
and so it also gave some sun protection and whatnot from the back of it. So that's all that is. That little 25 by 30.
This is the road, this is
Yes.
Royalsboro right here.
Correct.
And so it's proposed back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there would be two seating areas?
Yeah,
What
one
part is that?
behind, one on the side. Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Would you be increasing your, I know you have a kitchen,
No,
Or-
no plans for.
increasing that,
No.
or trucks, food trucks, bringing food trucks in
No,
or anything
no,
like that? So
not,
it's
I mean, we did that on it, and I have that in here as well. I included a couple of the special
Like during the
charitable
festivals,
events that
yeah.
we had, or we have a fair, which is out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So the parking was all out in the field when we did have that, but I did want to bring that up, and I brought, and I showed the numbers, so that you got an idea of, all right, how many cars were there, and
Mm-hmm.
what hours of the day, and so forth. So the plans are to continue to do that. I mean, we'll have 3 charitable events that are,
We will get to that shortly.
okay.
Alan,
I don't have any questions.
do you have a maximum number of seats available that you would use? How many people max do you think you would have there at a time? I mean, you've got a
Yeah.
number of tables.
Right, right.
chairs.
Yeah, and I probably got another dozen folding chairs, that kind of thing. Probably about 30 or 40.
So you're good with, if we set a limit of 40, that would be okay
Proceeding,
for seating?
well, yeah, perhaps except for a special event.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So
But
this-
yes, normally, that's more than enough.
Okay, 40.
But it's a good point, everything we're talking about right now is just the market, we're not talking festivals, we're
No,
not talking
no,
fairs,
no.
we're just.
That is
talking-
not,
we're-
and we can't
we're
talk that,
focused
because
right
that,
now.
yeah, it's not part of the application.
Right, right.
That's the reason I'm bringing that
Oh,
up.
okay. But yes, I would say that's more than enough.
Okay? Any other questions on seating only?
And sorry, you said
And
40, right?
and it is seasonal seating.
Gotcha.
Right,
I
right.
mean, you won't see any picnic tables out there.
Well, if you don't have any in January, you don't get to do 80 in August, so yes,
We said max 40 chairs,
yes.
seating?
Yeah, seating.
Okay.
Table, you know, and the tables to handle that.
Yeah, it's mostly picnic tables.
Okay. And I will make my point now, which is, I read, and I appreciate all the good stuff you're doing in Durham, for Durham, and all those other kinds of things. But I don't think your conditional use that exists now, nor does your application, refer to or allow the festivals, dinners, and all that other kind of stuff. So, and Mr. Tabarge, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that a requirement to have an approved use for those kinds of things? The last project we had similar to this was Celebration Farms, and they included that as part of their conditional use. They do more than what you're talking about doing.
We will need to follow up on that.
Okay,
Well, that's why I included it in here.
but we can't approve it tonight, is because it wasn't part of your application. The application,
Well,
The application,
in
as I understand it, is requesting outdoor seating.
right,
Did
and I
not-
wanted to bring it up, the outdoor seating and, okay.
Yeah, you applied for outdoor seating.
Right.
That's what's before
for,
you today.
as shown on the drawing.
Right.
So we'll need to probably talk to the code officer and potentially the town attorney on how the seasonal events fit into their current approval and whether an amendment to their application is needed for that.
Yeah, you seem like a pleasant gentleman, so I'm not bringing you back just to hang out with this.
And
But
obviously,
we need to sort
as
this
with
out.
Celebration Tree Farm, when there are events, the parking location, the traffic control, all of those issues, they need details, probably more so than for the seating, just because of potential
Right.
impacts.
I did include a fair amount of detail on a spreadsheet here. How many cars were at prior events, and,
And I appreciate.
so I tried to give you.
No, and I appreciate that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a very thorough application. So those are my thoughts, is that, we're looking at seating tonight versus other dinners, other
Yeah,
concerts, the fair, so on and so forth. So my thought would be we do a motion to approve the seating up to 40, basically in line with what he has shown on his application.
yeah, that's, that one right there.
Yeah.
That was a motion?
All right, well, that's,
Well,
I guess I'm asking, is everybody's
Can
okay?
we just talk about it for a second first?
Sure,
Is
that's
that
why-
okay? So if he has to come back to talk about the festival, does it not make
That's a-
sense?
yeah, fair.
Or I'm
It's a
sorry, the
fair.
fairs, the events.
Right, the
Does it not
events.
make sense to just hold, because we're going to be looking at potentially additional parking for this, if there's outdoor seating maybe, like we still have to go through that checklist, right?
Well, we still, yeah, we
For
have to go
now,
through each
right.
item.
But if he's going to have to add in another use, then he's gonna have to come back, so maybe we ask.
My thinking is, and it's fair to ask, is that if I remember your application, you intend to start, you would see this opening food-wise in April.
Well, weather permitting.
Weather permitting,
You
got
put them
that.
out there, and yes. have-
So unfortunately, we don't come back until May. So my thought is
We don't come back.
here,
Yeah, no,
a
I
change.
get where you're
I
going.
see,
I would agree with you, because.
Your preference
Okay.
is to move,
Okay,
It's okay to split the two if you
Okay.
have an issue, because now I can just put them out there and
Yep.
have
Okay.
them, and then the first event that I'm planning, which is, again, is a charitable dinner event, is not until the end of June.
okay.
So
Okay.
that should give me time to, if I stay right on it, to come back if I have to.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that the application agrees with
What we
the activity.
exactly, it's cumulative, right?
Yes.
So, and I think the next step, we've got to go through this very long, painful, in my mind, checklist, so before we get there. The next step would be for you to work with Mr. Tabarge and the codes and say, what do I need to do, what do I need to have to do the other things that you want to do? And it may be that their ruling decision is nothing, you're good with what you've got, or here's what you.
Some additional things.
Some additional things for another and list them all.
Understood.
So, is
I
that,
assume it would be the same process, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So you have to go through the resource thing, the same
Yep,
sort of thing.
and you may want to take a look at Celebration Tree Farm, because they just did this.
Right.
so, having said that,
Yeah.
let us begin the long, painful process of conditional use criteria. And there's just a boatload of things, so please bear with us. Which is why I was hoping I'd be recused.
Oh,
It's not that bad, actually. So,
I didn't write this procedure.
okay, so review criteria for conditional use review for a change to it. Public health impacts. The proposed use will not create unsanitary or unhealthful conditions by reason of sewage disposal, emissions to the air, water, or other aspects of its design or operation. And I should ask Mr. DeBarge, starting on page 35 of what you gave us is where we're starting. Okay, good.
Yep.
So findings, trash will be collected in 2 bins with covers and disposed of by a private hauling company. Contract, market bathroom is available and regularly cleaned. That's nice. No impact on air or water quality. Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'll approve. Make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion. A motion and a second. So, votes to approve, please raise your hand. So it's 3-0. And I'll tell you, a failure on any of these is a failure, is an overall, so they all have to pass. Okay, so traffic safety impacts. The proposed use will not create unsafe vehicular or pedestrian traffic conditions when added to existing and foreseeable traffic in its vicinity. Finding, the current parking conditions have been more than adequate. There have been no parking lot or vehicle accidents entering or exiting nearly 5 years of operation. Entrance and exit signs have been maintained.
Correct.
Would you look at the exit sign? I drove past there today and it looks cockeyed to me. It looks like it's kind of angular.
Could be a
The
plow,
last storm that
could
we
be a
had.
plow issue.
I've repaired my mailbox 3 times.
I think
as
I
well.
straightened one of those out already.
Yeah, just
One-
twist it, come
Sure, I'll
back
get it
in,
right.
please. It is there, both of them were there. Expect to have improved safety in the vicinity due to DOT installing a 4-way stop sign at the intersection of Reynoldsboro Rabbit and Quaker Meeting House Roads. Any additional findings from board members?
I move to approve the traffic safety impact
Yeah, I
as
second that.
presented.
Moved and seconded, raise a hand if you agree. 3-0. And that was, okay. Public safety impacts. The proposed use will not create public safety problems which would be substantially different from those created by existing uses in the neighborhood or require a substantially greater degree of municipal services than existing use in the neighborhood. The 2 findings that are here, the surrounding uses are residential. The only substantial safety problem is multiple annual auto accidents at the nearby intersection. And I think it is in D, under paragraph 2, that your expectation, in what the state said they was gonna do is put a 4-way stop there.
They've come by already, so.
It's not there yet, though.
Do you have a timeline on that? Do you know?
I don't, they didn't,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they didn't tell, I asked
Yeah,
that, but
okay.
they couldn't tell me, but
Yep.
probably about a month.
Oh, really? That quick?
Yeah, they did say it wouldn't take like 6 months.
Yeah,
Right.
wow. So this year?
This year,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Okay,
I
so it
move to approve the
you.
public safety impacts as presented.
I'll second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise a hand. 3-0. We're moving on to, did you get the moves and secondeds?
I did.
Okay, thank you, George.
There's something.
Environmental impacts, the proposed use will not result in sedimentation, erosion, or have an adverse effect on water supplies. The tables are very close to the marketing parking lot, and seating is located on decks or in an area which is level on crushed stone for stability and cleanliness. See map 2. Any other findings, comments? You want to make the motion this time, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, so this is more about water, right?
Yes.
You have your own well,
Yeah, which is
There's-
on the other side of the property.
yeah, and there's no increase in like utilization of the
No.
well, or, you know, it's gonna
No.
be, so,
No,
yeah.
because they're eating sandwiches and buying drinks.
You hope.
Yeah, right,
Well, I hope, yeah, but I mean, that's the use.
yeah. I'll make a motion to, that the applicant has satisfied a reasonable burden of proof of compliance with the criterion for public safety. No, environmental impact.
Second.
Moved and seconded, raise your hand if you agree. Unanimous, 3-0. Scale and intensity of use. The proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to physical size, visual impact, intensity of use, and proximity to other structures. Findings: on a few occasions during the summer growing season, the farm hosts a craft fair I would like to strike that one. I mean, I guess that's history. Well, everybody agrees,
Right.
it still has to be approved, okay?
So are
Dir-
you saying to strike that, John?
No, it's the history.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
and
fact, they've
I'm
done it in
gonna-
the
Yeah.
past.
I'm gonna propose a finding at the end that clarifies what your position is on that.
Yes, the final, I will propose a finding that talks about what's approved tonight, what may be approved tonight, and what still needs to be done. During these events, there's a higher number of vehicles visiting in the parking lot and people outside the market in the seating area. That's assuming it's all approved. So A through C is if it's approved. Fair vendors and all fair parking taking place in our field behind the high tunnels located behind the market. So I guess what I'm saying is you have been doing all this stuff, including bans, and you've not had any, I'm asking, have you had any complaints from neighbors? Okay. So sometimes small local bands of plays, but noise levels are minimal compared to the noise from autos and trucks passing the farm on Roseboro Road. I will point out that our ordinance has a maximum day and night noise level that can leave your property. So
Sure.
if somebody complains, that's what they'll be judged against, so. Or it'd be even better if you didn't exceed that. These are clean and attractive spaces for safe, sturdy picnic tables and outdoor tables and chairs. During nice weather, customers have requested seating to eat their takeout food. Colorful shade cloths are put up in the spring and taken out in the fall. The added tables and chairs are not easily seen by neighbors since there's a substantial distance buffer. A stone retaining wall and a planted flower garden have been added to beautify this seating area. Any additional,
I do have draft one that addresses the issue of the special events. I propose that you add a J, which would read as follows. The board finds that any expansion of use for special events may need amended conditional use approval, and the current application approval is limited to outdoor seating. That just puts it on record.
okay, would you read that again,
Sure.
please? And then
Yep, the board
we're gonna ask if you
finds-
agree.
Yep, the board finds that any expansion of use for special events may need amended conditional use approval, and the current application approval is limited to the outdoor seating.
Okay, so that it's clear that it's not expansion of what you've done in the past, it's any bans, so on and so forth, that were not approved originally. We're gonna have to come in and talk to the staff.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
understood.
gotcha. And you're good with that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, board members? May I have a motion, please? Okay, the applicant has satisfied a reasonable burden of proof of compliance with the criterion for scale and intensity of use A through I plus J as provided by Mr. Tabarge.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any additional comments? If not, please raise a hand. 3-0. Noise and hours of operation. The proposed use will be compatible with existing uses in the neighborhood with respect to the generation of noise and hours of operation. Finding normal hours are from 8 to 5:30, Tuesday through Friday, or Thursday?
Correct.
Tuesday.
Tuesday through Friday.
Tuesday through Friday, and 9 to 2 on Saturdays. I'm gonna change that so it's Tuesday and not Thursday. Okay, any additional findings from the board? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I would move that the applicant has satisfied a reasonable burden of proof of compliance with the criterion for noise and hours of operation.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Please raise, any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise a hand to vote to approve. 3-0. Right title or interest. The applicant has sufficient right title or interest in the site of the proposed use to be able to carry out the proposed use. Findings were established in the final findings of the 2020 conditional use and site review. The applicant had sufficient right title or interest in site of the proposed use to be able to carry it out. Deed was submitted then, and later the barn and market were completed as proposed. Any additional, and nothing's changed in terms of the deed. Any, take a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that the applicant has satisfied a reasonable burden of proof of compliance with the criterion for right title or interest.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise a hand if you vote to approve. 3-0. Financial and technical ability. The applicant has the financial and technical ability to meet the standards of this section and to comply with any conditions imposed by the planning board pursuant to subsection 7.5. Findings. Resources have been used to purchase tables and chairs, and the proposed deck is a relatively small project. A new 25 by 30-foot deck with railing is estimated to be less than $5,000. It will comply with building codes. The details will be included according to Durham building permit application. Before we go any further, this tends to lock you into building a deck. And I think I may have heard you say that you
Well-
may not.
Well, I may just have the surface
Yeah.
and not actually have a wooden deck.
But he would be approved to build the deck. I don't think he's required.
We don't need to
Yeah.
say or a,
Yeah.
or a, okay.
This will give him the authority to do it.
Yeah, that was my point, and I may not need to, is what my point is that, you know, it's a good clean surface, probably a safety railing.
I just want to make sure you don't get locked in.
Yeah.
You go, somebody comes out and,
Yeah, and then I
where's my
decide
deck?
not to.
Okay.
And this is just addressing the financial capacity.
Right.
Applicant,
That's right.
good point. Applicant has been running the farm for nearly 5 years with an average of 8 part-time employees per year. The market and barn were built according to building codes and local requirements. This project is very small in comparison to the market and barn. Okay, any further findings, additional findings? Seeing none, a motion?
I will move that the applicant has satisfied a reasonable burden of proof of compliance with criterion for financial and technical ability.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, a vote to approve, raise the hand. 3-0. Okay, conditional use review criteria. Compliance with land use ordinance standards. The proposed conditional use shall meet all applicable criteria, design, or performance standards in all articles of the land use ordinance. So there references section 5.22 of the land use ordinance, which pertains to restaurants, food service, and takeout stands. Okay, the application for a conditional use permit shall state the maximum seating capacity, if any, of the restaurant, which you have said is 40. Okay.
That's what we agreed on, yeah.
Okay. All proposed subsurface disposal systems will meet the main state, main state subsurface wastewater disposal rules. All parking and loading facilities shall be located to the side of the rear building, shall be screened from abutting residents or those with 200 feet. Screening shall be comprised of a continuous landscape area not less than 8 feet in width, containing evergreen shrubs, trees, fences, walls, berms, or any other combination forming a visual barrier of not less than 6 feet in height. Restroom facilities for patrons shall be provided on the premises except for takeout stands. So findings,
Sorry, keep going. I was just gonna say C is odd,
yeah, that's what's in the ordinance.
so keep going.
Okay, yeah, we may get to
Yeah.
your question. So seating is occasional throughout the day, estimated to be adequate for 40 to 50 vehicle visits per day. And I would like to say somewhere in here, either in A or E, that we have set a max of 40.
Yeah,
Seating.
Okay. Seating, max seating, yes, not, if there's 100 people in line, that doesn't count. George, the best place to do that is A?
Yeah.
Okay, seatings, so I will add applicant has agreed to a maximum of 40 seats. Okay, current customer visits to market restroom are currently less than 1 per day. Current customer visit, oh, okay, the restroom.
Yeah,
Appropriate
not
permit.
employees.
no one's going to that.
Do you see an increase? You never know. You have 5 acres there, right? Do you
Moth's
see an
going like
increase? You know, when people stay, there's obviously the opportunity, chance, need
To go to
for
that.
more. So you believe that's enough?
Well, I think that's just been sort of the average based on.
No, yeah, but I mean, what you have,
Oh, yes.
what you
yeah.
have is more than enough to handle up to 40 seats. And do you bring in, but we won't get into the other things.
Well, the answer is yes, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
That's on those larger,
Gotcha, we'll
No,
we'll
like
hold
on the
that
fair.
discussion for another day. Parking is adequate for 1,500 vehicle visits per day, we'll use current parking lot size. So my thought on the parking lot is that it doesn't meet the requirement of paragraphs 5.22C. All parking shall be located at the side or rear of the building, but I believe it's been grandfathered. It has been there, and if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. It has not been an issue. So for this use, I think that leaving it, the parking as is fine, but I'm looking left and right if somebody would disagree with me.
No, I have no disagreement. In the future, if we're looking at additional for other activities, we'll have to address it at that point.
Yes, I would agree.
Sorry, hold on one second. So the original conditional use was for a restaurant or a food
No,
service or
it's
takeout
a
stand?
takeout, right.
Okay.
Well, the way I interpreted that, I looked at the ordinance and says, well, this is the best fit.
Yep.
You know, takeouts,
At
it's
the
not a
time.
stand, it's a market,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, it's,
But it was for food related?
Yes.
The application? So
Exactly.
then, yes, I would agree that the grandfathering makes sense.
Okay.
I have no issues.
Can I
So,
just work on the wording of that? Just to be technically correct, technically a grandfather is not a zoning term, it's
It's
a
not?
common term, but
Sure.
in any case, just to clarify, for something to be lawfully non-conforming, it has to have existed prior to the adoption of the regulation, which is not the case here. What is the case here is that the prior planning board conditional use approval approved the parking where it is. And so this
As is.
amended application can't go back and say
change it.
that, we don't agree with that, you have to put the parking to the rear, that's, it's de facto grandfather.
Okay.
But by virtue of the prior conditional use approval.
yeah,
Ex-
when I did the original application, the parking lot was all laid out, how many spaces and so forth, so that
Gotcha.
was approved then,
So I would,
where they were.
okay, so parking is adequate, so on paragraph C, findings, so parking is adequate for the 1,500 vehicle visits per day. We'll use current parking lot size. Current parking lot was approved as part of the.
I would add that as finding E.
Finding E, so okay, so restroom facilities are available in market all day. In finding A, the current parking lot configuration location was approved as part of the original conditional use approval
And is not changing.
and is not changing. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So that is E. Motion to approve? Or basically just a motion, approve or disapprove.
Yes, approved.
Okay, Juliet makes a motion to approve. The applicant is satisfied it's a reasonable burden approved of compliance with the standards for restaurants, food service, and takeout seating. I will second it. So it's been moved and seconded. If you approve, please raise a hand. 3-0, it is approved. Okay, conditions of approval, this is the final one. Planning board approval conditions. Upon consideration of the criteria listed in subsection 7.4, the planning board may, by majority vote, attach such conditions in addition to those required by other provisions of this ordinance as it finds necessary to ensure compliance with those criteria and all applicable requirements of this ordinance. Violation of these conditions shall be a violation of this ordinance. Okay, so there is one finding. The project is to be constructed in accordance with plans, maps, diagrams, specifications, textual subdivision, and testimony presented by the applicant and approved by the board. So that refers to the 2 seating areas, and only the 2 seating areas. I would like to just make it clear, and I know Mr. Goodrich is not going to violate this, but do we put in here that this applies only to the seating areas, or has that already been beaten to death in other parts of this?
I think it's clear.
Okay, so we don't need a number 2.
I don't think so.
I'm good with that. Okay, Juliet, you good with that?
Yes, I'm just looking at the site plan, which is up here. We said 40 max, right?
Yes.
This, I don't know if it's clear here about that. I don't know if it
Oh, it'd be
matters
between
either.
the two areas,
Okay.
either behind or with a
Oh,
picnic
combination.
area.
Oh, I see down here too.
Combination of the two.
So okay. Okay, yeah, I didn't see those pieces on there. Okay, that's fine.
And if you need extra, as long as it doesn't go over 40, if you need extra chairs or tables from that. Okay, so, I guess, we've gone through 7.5. Any additional comments? Mr. Tabarge, any?
No, just to clarify, you'll be voting to apply the condition of approval and then voting on the decision as a whole.
Yeah, we're doing
Thank you very
7.5.
much. I miss that every time. So there's 2 more votes. Motion was made and by Mr. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Kaplinger. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise a hand to approve. Approved. So the final planning board decision, and I think the last one, a motion to, is there a motion to approve the overall?
I'll make that motion to approve the outdoor seating for Replimova at 1252 Roseboro Road, map 7, lot 113C.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise a hand to approve. Okay, so seating is done. And if you would work with the town staff to find
Yeah,
out.
about the special events.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can give a specific plan for cars, where they're parked and all
And
that.
if you require a plan, it's probably
Yeah, same, now that I've been through this,
90% of it is done.
Yeah.
right, there's some detail.
The advantage of a computer. Okay, thank you.
And sorry,
Thank
just one
you.
more thing. So you said we're not here in April? We're not doing a meeting in April?
No, well, this is April.
This is April, you're right.
Yeah,
So
May.
next month is
I'll
May.
look for May.
So you said your first one is in June, right?
Right, so I'd
Okay,
like to,
so-
I'll move things along to be hopefully
Okay.
ready for next month.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the middle of the month is the middle Wednesday, whatever it may be, so get it in and we'll hear it.
Oh, is it the middle one?
No, it's the
Oh.
first.
First
It's
one.
the
Well,
first.
the meeting, I'm sorry, right, the meeting is the first Wednesday.
The 7th.
The deadline for submission.
Oh, I know, I've got,
Right.
a couple of weeks,
Yep,
so.
Yeah.
it's- But like you say, a lot of it is done already.
it's the advantage of computers.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Don't forget the town meeting Saturday, 9
Yes,
AM.
in Pownell.
Oh, he's in town.
Hey,
Sorry.
You can still come.
interested.
well, you can speak, you just can't vote.
You can see poetry in action.
Thank you, guys.
Poetry.
Ed Podel. Okay, next, please.
Yep.
Okay, please state your name and address.
My name's Jonathan LeBozo.
Jonathan, would you mind just pulling it close and speaking? Oh, that's, no, it's on. You
It's
just have-
green, once it's green,
Yeah.
you're all set.
My name's Jonathan LeBozo. My personal address, I guess, is 616 High Street, Bath, Maine.
Okay,
Do I matter?
you do?
Yes,
I'm
you do.
Charlie Burnham. I'm 241 Row Station, New Gloucester.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Same rules, unanimous vote tonight. Well, Mr. Thabarge, if you would like to kick us off?
Yes.
Oh, what, okay, I read what it was. Okay, so this is a request for amendment of the Bowie Hill subdivision for lot line correction, map 10, lot 38.
The applicant is seeking amended subdivision approval to correct a setback violation on lot 13 in phase 1 of Bowie Hill. The foundation was poured approximately 7 feet into the 20-foot rear setback at the farthest point, as indicated in the photo diagram that I included in your packet. They're proposing to extend the northerly property line of lot 13 between 90 feet, according to the attachment B note, and 100 feet in the cover letter to the east, taking a triangle with approximately 10,000 square feet from the adjacent excess open space of the subdivision. The draft amended subdivision plan prepared by the surveyor indicates a line extension of 94.06 feet. And as indicated in the diagram above, the reduction in open space is beyond what is needed to correct the setback violation, and it's unclear whether the intent is to correct the violation or to allow further building expansion to the rear. And as I stated in the notes, either outcome is permissible, under the subdivision regulations as a lot line adjustment.
Okay, applicant, if you would like to say a few words.
George's explanation was correct. To clarify, it's not to expand the structure at all, it's just to rectify the setback error.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess how did we get here? How did we miss it? Was it just a surveyor error? How did we?
Various elements, but essentially there's some from, it's called, it's on Bowie Hill Road, it's called Bowie Hill for a reason. And from the road to the proposed house location was fairly steep, so we pushed it down a little bit to flatter area, or the builder did, and it was pushed too far.
Okay, I'll follow up with my follow-up question. I know just enough about this stuff to be dangerous. Do you stake the four corners of the pad? And so when you're shaking your head, yes. So when it was staked wrong? That corner that extended into the easement was staked incorrectly. Okay.
Yeah, well, can I just jump on that?
You may.
Did you did someone inside working the job find it, or did someone come to you, like a landowner or something,
Title
and
company
ask about it?
Through the permit process.
It wasn't through the permit process, it was discovered by the construction company.
Okay. So like during,
They were checking out
O&M
setbacks.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, we, going through a normal procedure and then saw, oh geez,
Yeah, okay.
looks like we're too far in there. We brought a surveyor got involved to locate it exactly on the map, and that's when we discovered that it was 7 feet too far.
Okay. And this is phase one.
Correct.
We're doing phase two sort of right now,
Yeah,
right?
separate.
Like that's separate 100, but I'm just, yeah, this is the construction piece of it. Yeah, okay.
I'm the developer, and the development company still owns the property. That's why I'm here
Oh,
representing the development.
okay. So what is this doing? It's just pushing it,
Pushes the property line back, which pushes the setback back, which
Mm-hmm.
makes the home be conforming.
okay,
It makes the structure conforming.
okay.
Then why 90, no, it wasn't 90 feet, how far did it go?
We had excess space, and we decided, why, just make it clear to everybody that there's plenty of space. There's no reason not to, so all the numbers worked out.
That's the next question. So this is a cluster subdivision, so the open space minimums that you have to maintain are you're still meeting that part of
Yes.
the ordinance.
So yeah, I'm sorry, the bullet point, as indicated in the diagram above, the reduction in open space is beyond what is needed to correct the setback violation. Is there an issue at all with us? Do we just want to have the open space reduced to what's needed? Does that make sense? Am I saying that right?
We had excess open space, so we could have, our what's called the net res calculations
Yeah.
exceeded what we needed,
Yeah.
so we were able to, we had ample space to push it back that 90 feet.
Yeah.
We could have pushed it back 20 feet, we could have pushed it back 7 feet.
Yeah,
Could have pushed it 20 feet, we decided to push it back 90 feet.
okay. Okay,
As needed, drawn it out.
so it's decreasing the open space.
It is
More than needed, but,
more than needed for this issue.
right,
But it's not impacting the overall standards that we have to hit.
yeah.
And the trail that runs in there somewhere is not impacted?
Oh, you can see.
That's at the beginning of
Yeah.
it.
All right, you can't actually see it, but no, it's not impacted. It still runs in the open space.
Remind me, this was cluster, right?
Yes. Okay, so it sits close to that wetlands there was an error in staking. Was the error doesn't put it into the wetlands?
It's not put into the wetlands now.
Okay.
There have been some wetland impacts, as I've written in an email to George. That's being addressed right now with the Army Corps of Engineers and the DEP.
Okay, so you've torn up more than you expected, and now you're going into more wetlands than you expected. So now, where is that? Was that in this lot, or?
Just this lot. The only wetland impacts that have occurred in the whole subdivision are in that one lot.
So can we dig into that or no?
We can, you can ask.
Is it because were the wetlands mapped okay? Or were they not mapped accurately? And how,
They were mapped accurately. Essentially, the root of the evil was when we went to remove the Parker Schoolhouse, which is there. There's a major ditch between Bowie Hill and the Parker Schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So when we removed it, we came in through lot 13 and to remove that, so there was some wetland impacts there, and
So you
that's
came
what.
in like this?
Yeah.
Okay, and you impacted this wetland?
Yep.
Okay.
While we're sticking to that, because I do want to dig in a little bit further with this, your mea culpa or whatever. I drove past there today, and it looks to me like there is, extending from this corner here, there's some survey stakes that come out, and I don't know how far, and it looks like that was graded. Did that impact the wetlands at all? Is that what you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so George can, or somebody can correct me, but about the time I joined, there was a house that was built where a corner of the house went into
yes.
the
that's-
wetlands.
Was that your,
That was a
No.
stream setback. That was different, I believe.
right, but was that your, no, okay.
No,
I
it
was
was
thinking
not.
the
That
exact
was
same,
not.
that was COP.
I think, yeah, I can't remember for
It-
sure.
it
I'm
doesn't
not sure I was
matter,
a
right,
member at that
Yeah,
point.
I was thinking the same exact.
So that seemed to hold things up. Is there any reason to, and I'm not looking for a reason to hold this up. Is there something, what they're doing with the Corps will come back and tell them they have to remediate or fix the damage they did?
Or approve it.
Or approve it, yes, I'm sorry. I think in that case, they just approved the.
That was a stream setback, right? That was the garage.
No, it
It's
wasn't.
a whole different animal.
No, it's
Yeah,
totally
this
different.
is a couple, 3 years ago.
This was
4
filling
years
of
ago.
wetlands.
Oh, I know which one. Yep.
Okay, so that has, the work they're doing with the Corps DEP has no bearing on this lot.
Well, it does.
It does, I'm
It-
sorry.
It will
It
take
does,
care
but
of
not-
it
not on the
potentially,
setback.
or not.
Okay, they're not removing the setback. Okay, so any other comments on the setback, on this issue? See,
So just to be clear, you need more room. You need, I don't know, how many feet? 20, right? 7? 7, but you're pushing it 90. Why?
It's our property, we have the right to do that, and we have, like I said, there's a wide print, let's say, just, we're not making up fake numbers
Yeah.
here, let's say we had 1,000 extra square feet of open space.
Yeah,
We could have used, we could have only used 7 of that square feet, we could have used 90 of that square feet, that's up to us. So we just pushed it back extra, because there was no reason not to.
It gives you septic options.
I will correct one thing you said, which is you don't have the right to do that unless we give it to you today.
We have the right to propose.
right.
There we go.
Right. So
And I'm
it
not,
wasn't-
I don't
Sure.
mean to be petty, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
it's our approval or disapproval that impacts that.
And this is 13, right?
Correct.
So it's this or there?
That top right corner. That
Okay.
top right corner is the only thing
Only
that
one
moved.
pin was moved.
One pin
Actually,
moved.
yeah, just one pin.
One pin moved.
Okay.
The recorded plan goes from this pin to this pin.
Okay, so that's the proposed increase right there?
Yeah.
That triangle is the increase.
So is that currently under contract, or has it been sold?
No.
So it is, if I'm looking at
It's
it
not
as a developer, it's to my advantage or to the buyer to increase that lot size. And it makes it much more attractive to
Yeah,
them
oh yeah.
by increasing it more than is actually needed. That would be my observation of this.
Do you, either of you have any questions or concerns on that?
I don't, but I mean, it's, I guess because it is a cluster subdivision, and they meet the minimum requirement, although I'm not a big fan of coming back after the fact, which is to my point that you don't get, it's us that decide that. It doesn't particularly bother me that that's what's happening here, because I think at the end of the day, that is I don't know what would go in there that would be anything other than what it is now. Now, I guess you put a shed or you could put a bunch of stuff in there as long as you're not in wetlands and other things. And there's very little room to build anything in there because of the wetlands. So I guess the long version is say no, that doesn't
And
bother.
if it provides any clarity, and you'll have to take my word on, I would have much rather had this building not be put outside the setback, or within the setback, than have a larger lot, like, there's, there's very little good that's coming out of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the people, what they got as they now own is what they would have had as open space, unless they want to put playgrounds or there are other things, they want to have a fire pit. I guess there's things they could do there. Well, the short version is no, that doesn't bother me enough at this point, but Mr. Pearson?
All right, but we certainly appreciate you coming forward, and anything like this is discovered, it's a positive for you bringing it forward to us,
Yeah,
versus someone discovering it later.
yeah.
And that's not happening, so that's a positive.
We like positives.
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion?
For phase 2, do we look at phase 1 or is phase 2 limited to phase 2? Like, do we?
Phase 2 is limited to phase 2, but I would, as I indicated in the sketch plan, as well as in the preliminary, please take a look at the lots in terms of the limitations and siting of houses, because this lot would be an example of where the wetlands are there, the slopes are there. If you look at the lot, identify where the building location is gonna be. And the smaller the lots, the more that's important. With 2-acre lots and bigger, you don't have that much problem.
I mean, the topo is the topo. Was there when you did your topo? And I don't want to necessarily beat that horse, but yes, as he said, please look at it. Any other
I'm
comments?
sorry, the wetland delineation that was done for this phase is the same one that was done for phase 2, right? It was one big effort. Because of that, could we get records? Could the planning board see for phase 2 what's going on with the Army Corps with this issue? Does that make sense? You know what I'm asking? Is to see what's going
So
on
what you're
here
asking
with
is
the Army Corps.
whatever the final Corps DEP
Yeah,
decision is, would be submitted along with phase 2.
yeah.
Because technically, they're filling wetlands that you should have approved as well, so. If you
Right,
guys just bring that to us, put it on the record.
And I think that's what happened with the one I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
that is.
There was an approval by the planning board, the Corps approved it, the planning board then
Yes,
approved it.
yes.
I imagine it gets tagged to the deed too, right?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be part of that package, it'll all be.
Okay, great. All right. Good.
Anything else to do there?
No, no, thank you.
If not, looking for a motion?
I don't see any verbiage here anymore.
It's just a simple motion to approve the amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended submitted by Boy Hill Development LLC.
lot line correction. I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Mr. Thabarge, have you got the motion and second?
Yep.
If any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise your hand if you vote to approve. 3-0, and I think we're done. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Good
you. Yeah, take care.
Be safe out there. Okay, I think that's our work is done.
So, we're gonna,
Next meeting is May,
do we wanna talk about, I wasn't here at the thing. Do you guys
The
wanna
thing?
talk about it?
no,
What
we
was the
can't.
thing?
The public hearing.
It
It was
was
really, good. We'll get
It
Alan's
was,
opinion first.
well, it's, I think there were 13 people here.
Oh, really? That was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was not well attended.
13 people, and let's see, 11 of them for Conservation Commission.
There were,
There was
there was
3
one.
or 4 of them.
There was maybe 3 people who were not either Conservation Commission
Right.
or Select Board. I think that's fair to say, or Planning Board members or George.
And hopefully that's an indication of townspeople being
I don't think
educated.
it is. I think 2 out of 3.
I am trying to be positive on that.
Any
Okay.
big questions or concerns?
One gentleman on the historic thing had a couple of questions about like, does this cover the interior of the building was one of the two, and I don't remember the other one. It was a
He
gentleman.
already, he already, yeah, and he already owns property that, one of the houses is already been identified as a historic property and building, but the
Up on
other
your
one, he was
last one.
questioning whether the other one could be. But it was Gordon Grimes, I don't know if you know Gordon. Gordon's
Yeah.
been in town for many years, and he's been very involved with the town and developing ordinances back in the day.
So they were good question, and
Juliet, I would point out
then,
that the minutes
there
of
was
the
a
meeting
one-
Yeah.
include all that.
I know, I meant to watch the video and all that too. Is there a video? There is, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just haven't.
there was not much. I mean, there was nothing on resource protection, if I remember right.
I think it was done within an hour.
It was done in 58 minutes. I checked the clock.
Wow, okay.
And then there was someone asked, what happens if the contract zoning and battery storage does not pass?
Well, I believe though, and there were a couple of people that did, why didn't we separate the two? And that was not our
Decision.
decision. That
That's
was the
what we
select
said.
board's decision.
Yeah,
Correct.
and the select board wasn't there to speak.
They were,
there
but they
was
didn't,
one select-
yeah, but I don't, they had, Mr. Roy and Mr. Tom were here. I don't know if
Right.
anybody else was. There were at least two.
Two, yeah.
Um,
If nothing else for this business meeting, I will move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and second to adjourn. If you agree, please raise a hand. 3-0, we are done. Please turn your mics off and help arrange this. George, I forgot to ask, it's too late now, so if we didn't have anything else. We'll see George on Saturday at the thing. 9 a.m. George, I'm turning off the voice machine.
Yeah, and could you hit that off on there too,
Pardon me?
on the computer too?